Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are doing the 5K subscriber special. I am so pumped for this video. We got a bunch of things to go over, but first of all, before we get into any of that, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for your support. I never ever really thought I was gonna get to this point. I was just absolutely blown away when I got 100 subscribers and just couple views a day. So this has just far exceeded any of my expectations for the channel. So what we are doing special in this video is we are going to be we're going to try and get to platinum with Yasuo. And now the reason why this is kind of special is because I hate Yasuo. I think he's terrible for climbing. I'm very poor at that champion. As you can see by my Discord intro, it says, please do not be a Yasuo main. And that is for a reason, because I think that it's a really big trap where there are games you can snowball with it, but you are very inconsistent with what you can do in team fights. So I'm going to try and get to platinum with him. There is an issue though that he does get banned and picked quite a bit. So I'm going to just pick it whenever I can and then just do troll picks when I don't get Yasuo, so it will make the climb a little bit more genuine and reliant on me succeeding with Yasuo. So that is kind of what the series is going to be. I don't know how many parts it's going to take. It's probably going to take quite a few parts in all honesty, as I've been just I think I'm only at like a 60% win rate and I think I'm in silver, so I definitely have a lot of learning to do. So what I'm going to do at least with the first couple episodes, I'm just going to kind of go over what I think is a good way to approach learning a new champion, maybe some things I learned along the way, and some bad things you can do that'll hurt your learning experience. And yeah, we'll go over that, but I wanted to go over a small thing before we get into this. It's going to be kind of an event, kind of a way where we're going to settle disputes on Discord, and yeah, it should be interesting. It should be fun. Maybe get a couple videos out of it. We'll see what happens. So let's just jump right into that.
I will let the gods decide my fate. I demand a trial by combat.
Alright, so the new system we are going to have is trial by combat, where the two aggrieved parties, where they may be having some disagreement on the Discord, or it's been a while and someone just wants to test their mettle and be like, hey, I think Yasuo is a shit champion, and someone's like, hey, I think Yasuo is a great champion. Those two parties can have a trial by combat, and we will let the gods decide on who is right. So hopefully this is going to just kind of make sure the Discord is focused on League of Legends and not on other stuff that is kind of superfluous to the Discord and not what it is about. So I think we're going to be having one brewing rather shortly after this video, and after I know that both people have watched it, I am going to contact them and see if they want to just kind of try out this system. I think it's gonna be really fun. We're gonna stream it. We are going to we might record it and put it as a video on the YouTubes, and we'll see what's happening. If you want to join the Discord, maybe join someone's team for the trial by combat, I'm gonna put a link in the description down below. And let's actually jump into some of what is gonna happen for the rewards that are gonna be special, and what we are going to do with just kind of the what happens when you lose, what happens when you win, and let's get right into that.
Bring me one of those chickens. Think I'll take 2 chickens.
You don't seem to understand the situation.
I understand that if any more words come pouring out your cunt mouth, I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in this room.
You're gonna die for some chickens.
Someone is.
Alright, so what we're going to do with the trial by combat and with what happens with the results, before it begins, I am going to want both parties to accept that they will squash the beef after it is completed, and to not argue with what happened afterwards. I just want it to just kind of end. I just want both the teams to just kind of leave it all out on the Summoner's Rift. Let the gods decide in who is correct in the matter, and the winners will get either personalized coaching for every single person on their team, probably 20 to 30 minutes for each person, or you can choose a role that is going to be special on the Discord, that is going to be like champion of the Discord. You can be called the Mountain, you can be called whatever you want, whatever color you want, and we will put that person will have that role until the next trial by combat. And next up, you can put a special emote that you want on the server, as long as it's not racist, sexist, or pornographic. Or you can just decide if you want a simple RP prize for each person on your team. We could do like $5 or $10 for each person on your team. Or we can do, they can choose the champion on my next stream for every single one of the games I played. If you want to be mean and you want to make me play Katarina every single game, which I absolutely hate, or Yasuo every single game, or if you want me to play Lee Sin every single game, or like Ivern mid going full AD, you can choose that for the entire stream. So I'm gonna try and make it fun with the rewards. You can request something different if you want it, and we'll just kind of have fun with it. And I think this will be a really fun way to solve our differences, and the losers won't get anything. They will just hopefully be gracious in defeat, and they will not be children, and they just will kind of accept that they lost the game. They had an opportunity to win some fun prizes, and they will respect what they agreed to at the start and just squash in the beef after the trial by combat is completed. So that will wrap up kind of the new event we're going to be doing on the Discord. So let's jump into the actual video where I am going to be doing just going over some things that you should focus on when you are learning a new champion, and getting into the climb. If you're curious, I think I'm at Silver 1 right now. I'm trying to get Yasuo to Plat, so let's get right into it. Alright, let's get into the things that can help you when you are first starting to pick up a champion. First up is to go for giving builds, starting with the base runes that you can choose in the champion select. Now, if the enemy team is very AD heavy, obviously picking up armor is going to be quite beneficial. And if they are very AP heavy, going the magic resist is going to be pretty good. And if they have a lot of true damage that isn't based around percentage-based HP, sometimes it is good to pick up the base HP, or if they are likely to run Ignite against you, getting that early HP can be quite beneficial. Next up, we have the runes. It is going to be really good for you to just have as forgiving as a build as possible, so if you do make a mistake, it is not going to be capitalized as easy on. So picking up things like bone plating against combo assassins or combo champions like Riven, like Lee Sin, like LeBlanc, like Fizz can really prevent them from getting some of those early kills that just snowball the game out of control. Next up, we have the items, and the starting items like Doran's Shield can be very effective when you are just first starting to learn a new champion, because you're able to take portraits and then just regen a bit of that HP back, and it can be great for first picking up the new champion. Next up, we have something like a Fleet Footwork rune, or maybe a Grasp of the Undying, or going things like Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter can help out quite a bit, because this is going to be able to help you sustain through lane and take bad trades and still stick around and not get denied a high amount of CS. So next up, you do not want to overplay your ability set. I have a lot of issues with this on Yasuo, as I've seen people perform at really high levels in Yasuo. I've played against very good Yasuos, and I feel like I should be able to make similar plays to what they did, but I am unable to do that. So I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm starting to understand, hey, I probably shouldn't be flashing under for that EQR and trying to get out before I die, and just kind of taking the small wins and not trying to capitalize too hard. Say I get a flash out of someone, maybe I shouldn't flash after them because the kill isn't 100% secured. So do not go for the flashy plays. When you're first starting to pick up the champion, just nail down the fundamentals, and I think it's going to be quite beneficial. You got to try and crawl before you walk, and you got to walk before you run when you are playing. Next up, when you are learning a new champion, it is really good for you to understand that it should not be 100% pick for you. I know this series is I'm trying to pick Yasuo every game, but it's a lot better for you to have a safe blind pick champion that you have a good amount of experience on, and then pick your new champion you're trying to learn when you know it's a relatively safe lane. For example, Kale or Vladimir that takes some time to scale and have a rather weak laning phase. This could be a great time to pick up a new champion that is that you're trying to learn. Next up, we want to talk about timings. This is really important, particularly on melee champions like the Yasuo, because I have to tell you what, I am struggling quite a bit understanding like, hey, I should be going in now, or I should be using my wind wall now. And I think this is just going to come with more with my game experience. I kind of learned it a bit with AP mages, how you have to wait until the enemy team really engages to use your full combo and your big cooldowns to try and burn people off before I would just kind of throw it out when I felt like I could get a kill and they weren't committing, and they would just use their flash, or maybe they would use their mobility spells to get out of my combo. So it's just a bit about understanding what kind of timings you need with your champions. Also, another thing about timing is understanding your power levels and your windows when you are picking up a new champion. Really look for when you are strong. Say something like Zed is really strong at level 3, and level 6, same with Fizz, is really strong at level 3. And understanding, hey, my level 1 is really strong because I'm playing Tryndamere, or understanding that, hey, I need to wait until this certain level to fight. A good example would be kind of a really classic matchup in the top lane right now, at least for the past couple patches, has been Fiora versus Yorick, where Yorick would beat Fiora for about 3 items, and then it would just completely get switched on his head, where Fiora would win every single fight after those 3 items are completed. So when you first are picking up a champion, you're not going to have the best understanding of where your timing and your power windows are to beat the enemy champion. So try and keep a mental note of when you are the strongest. If you need some help with this, I have a really good understanding of when this is outside of Yasuo. Yasuo is a little bit of an anomaly. That's why I'm doing this series on him, is because I'm struggling a little bit with understanding like, hey, I'm super strong at this point. I have the general idea that Yasuo is, if you can just kind of farm out the late game, not get ganked, and have a high CS number, you should be able to carry the late game with your insane damage and your mobility and your AoE damage with the knockup. It can be quite crazy. So a really big thing that I encourage you guys to look at is just try to understand the different timings and power windows you have with this new champion, and try and find a couple of resources. I have a bunch of tip videos on a bunch of different champions if you're looking for a particular one. Also, you can comment down below and I'll give you a general idea of the power windows for your champion. All right, let's get into the big no-nos, the things you do not want to do when you are learning a new champion. First up, I know that is very hard for a lot of people to understand, is to not blame your teammates. The only thing you should be focusing on when you are playing and when you're in the game is yourself. You should be focusing on how you can get better, how you should have played things differently. Do not blame your teammates. Do not be like, oh, this guy just ganked me a bunch of times and that's why I lost lane. There's nothing to learn from this. There's always going to be something to learn from each and every game you play. So really just focus on what you could have done better in that game, and that will be the best way to start improving your gameplay. Next up, do not focus too much on your wins and losses and being concerned with your division. We are not that far into the new season, so we have a lot of time to climb. So just focus on getting better game to game. Do not focus on, oh God, if I lose this game, I'm not going to get my promos, or I'm going to have minus 20 LP or something like that. What you really want to do is just focus on being like, okay, I got a little bit more CS this game than the previous game. I was able to ward a little bit better. I didn't feed too much. I was under 6 deaths in this game. It's really just kind of the small things you should be focusing on, not these just kind of climbing and being super competitive. You just want to build up your fundamentals as much as possible, and this will be a great way to approach learning the new game. You shouldn't expect to be a master at any champion that you first pick up. Next up, you should not be going into a ranked game before knowing the combos and and what to do and how to play the champion. I think a lot of people really struggle with this quite a bit when they're playing high skill cap champions for the first time, and they'd be like, how do you even do the EQWR? Like, what is even the right way to do the combo? You should be watching something on YouTube, maybe a quick video on someone explaining the combos for you, because these are just the really basic things. You're not going to get good at a champion if you don't even know what you should be practicing yet. So keep that in mind when you are picking up a new champion. Next up is not understanding some of the meta build paths and what skill you should be maxing first. If you're not doing this, you are just really handicapping yourself in the game. The worst thing you can do is compound your poor gameplay and your just mechanical ability with poor decision making. If you just get those two up and then you're toxic on top of that, it could just be quite a disaster. I think it's a perfect storm as a player that goes into a game. First up, he's toxic. Second up, he doesn't play his champion too well. Third, he doesn't understand his combos that well. I mean, there's just so many small things you can do outside of the game to make your play a little bit better, and you should really be focusing on those when you are first learning a champion. Next up, you should not be trying to focus on kills and outplay the opponent. A lot of the time, particularly in low elo, if you focus on just getting as much farm as possible, maybe taking some scuttle crabs, getting a lot of vision, and just getting a lot of gold, you are going to have a lot more of a forgiving time when you are able to just hit people over the head with a sack of gold. That's why champions like Garen and Tryndamere can be quite easy to play, because they have very simple mechanically, and you can just farm up really heavily and beat people over the head with your sword, and it will be quite effective. So make sure when you are picking up a new champion that you just focus on getting the easy gold, and that is a lot about just taking the small risks for the as much amount of reward as possible, and not going into those high risk situations that you have very little understanding of what is going on. So that is going to wrap up. I'm actually going to do something a little bit different with this video. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on learning a new champion, because I am more than open to take any suggestions from you guys. Maybe you had a good experience learning a new champion, and if you have any tips for me, I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. I've been struggling quite a bit with Yasuo. I think I'm only at like a 55 or 60% win rate with him, so I hope that this series won't take more than like 15 or 20 episodes, but we will see how it goes. I am hoping if one of you guys want to take a guess on how many episodes it's going to take for me to get this Yasuo account to platinum, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. That's going to wrap up the video, guys. Thank you so much again for helping me reach the 5K subs mark. I'm just blown away. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you're excited about the series or not really excited about the series, please let me know in the comments down below. And as always, guys, take it easy.